Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here once again. Please, I would just like to know if you all can hear me. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Good afternoon.
Okay, that's fine. That means we can all hear each other. Well, very quickly, we'll be moving into the business of today. Today is a very bright day, and I'm sure we've had a great start to our day. Please, if you are not speaking, you can kindly mute your mic so that we can have very good audio. Miriam, you're very welcome. I want to welcome everyone to today's session. I welcome all our mentees and all our mentors. I'm very sure that today we'll be having a very great time, depending on how we interact. And of course, I'm very sure that the mentees are willing and prepared to listen to what the mentors have to say so that we can have a better grasp of the issues that we will be discussing today in today's mentorship session. This is week 2 of the fintech of the Gypsy mentorship and internship program for fintech. And I would like to welcome us all once again. Very quickly, my name is Obo Joseph. I'll be moderating today's session. And I hope that we all working as a team together would get the best of today's session. So I'll move very quickly to the introduction of the program. The Gypsy mentorship and internship program is the Gypsy 7.0. This is the 7th edition of the mentorship program, but the first for fintech. So the main goal for this basically is to see how we can interact across the issues concerning the fintech industry. We can also see how young professionals, students, people with a passion for the fintech industry who necessarily might not be working in fintech, but are desirous of knowing so much more about what the fintech industry has to offer. So that's why we have today's session. I'll quickly go straight to the announcements. Registration for the Q4 Gypsy mentorship session is ongoing. You can, for the mentees now, you can request a 30 minutes of private mentorship with the mentors if they are available, basically. You're also encouraged to put on your videos and be informed also that we are live streaming. I want to encourage mentees to edit the name section of their Zoom account as we are taking attendance. If you can use your full names, preferably, that will be very much appreciated. Then I would also like to state on a lighter note that the registration for the Gypsy end of year party is ongoing. We hope to do some unwinding in Abuja at the end of the year, precisely on the 10th of December 2020. You can kindly request for the registration link. So now I think it's high time we go straight into the business of the day. I'll be reading out the profile of our mentors. I'm sure we've already met them on LinkedIn. We've also met them on our WhatsApp group. So I would read their profile, and I want us to just know that today is actually all of us, is about our mentors, is about the mentees. So very quickly, I'll take the first profile, which is the profile of Damilola Akinayojo. Please kindly pardon me. Akinayojo, I guess so, yeah. So basically, Damilola Akinayojo holds a BSc in microbiology from Osun State University. Over the last 8 years, she has garnered experience in customer experience management, product development, product management, and digital partnerships in the banking industry. She currently works with Providence Bank as a fintech partnership manager, where she enables partnerships with fintech, microfinance banks, and SMEs for digital financial services and products. She's also an entrepreneur with 2 startups, an events management company, Zapris Events, and a spice production company, Spices by Asabi. Please kindly check her up on Instagram. You can follow her on LinkedIn as well, and all her social media platforms. So we have another mentor for today. I would quickly be reading out her profile. Just give me the next few seconds. I think I have it here now. Just a moment. Okay, yeah, so we already have it. We already have it on our screen. I wanted to open it up on my own screen. Just give me another, okay, I think I have it. I have it here. Just a minute, guys. Thank you very much. It's trying to elude me on my screen, but I've actually found it. So yes, we have Mariam Hassan. She is currently leading payment strategy and partnerships at Leatherback Limited. Leatherback Limited is actually an international company with various inroads in several African countries and Europe as well. She handles all strategic partnership engagements and oversees implementation of the payment platform. She has over 8 years experience in payments and collections, fintech business and partnerships, digital platforms and virtual channels, product development, strategy, product management and product management. Miriam began her career in banking, and until recently, she was the lead fintech business and digital bank at Providence Bank. I'm so excited that we have very two special people from the Providence Bank. At Providence Bank, she was responsible for building and managing the virtual channels and fintech business. You're very welcome, Miriam. You're very welcome, Damilola. So very quickly, just as I return back to the business of today, we have two groups. We have two groups that will be making presentations today. Each group would have 8 minutes for their presentations. I'm very sure that group one is actually ready. Group one, if you're ready, you can take it up from here so that we'll go straight right in. Our mentors would listen to the presentations for both group one and thereafter group two. After the presentations, we'll call on the mentors to make comments on the presentations for 10 minutes each. Thank you very much. Group one, it's over to you now. Is group one ready? Group one, you can take the floor. You can also share your presentation. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can see my screen. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Omalade Tola, and I'm going to present on behalf of Group 1. The topic for today is commercial development of fintech. Okay, so when commercial development actually comes in mind, it actually means the promotion of the development of fintech, how it actually came into market, how people started knowing about fintech. So fintech is actually the merging of two words together, finance and technology. And it was actually introduced around the late 19th century. And okay, in the late 17th century, there was the introduction of in the late 19th century, there was development from analog to digital, and there was the introduction of calculator and calculator and automated teller machine. In the late 20th century, there was digital banking was digitalized. So, but then it's actually developed rapidly around 2008, after there was the global financial crisis that led to financial institutions' inability to respond to consumer needs due to regulatory and legislative restrictions by those crises. So financial institutions began to embrace new forms of development as it can adopt technology in improving their
I guess we're having some technical hitches from Omolade. I wouldn't know if we have a backup presenter. Do we have a backup presenter who can actually take on from the presentation at the moment? Hussein, if you don't mind, if you could kindly reach out to the backup presenter, or if Omolade is still available, she can proceed with the presentation.
I think we can hear from group 2 if group 1 is not available. This is group 2.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we are ready. Give me a few minutes to share my screen. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
So can you also see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Miriam Orika, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Group 2. Our topic is open banking, embedded finance, and the world of payments. Okay, so we'll start our presentation by giving a brief introduction to how the banking system has evolved over time in different stages in Nigeria, from the pre-colonial era down to colonial era. The first bank that was a Bank of British West Africa. They articulated their presence in Nigeria by influencing commercial, trade, and financial activities in the country. During that period, that before 1914, the banking space in Nigeria was greatly influenced by foreign banks. But by 1914, that's during the amalgamation, we start having our own indigenous banking enterprises. Started out at patriotic and nationalistic opinions of actually having our own banks. Historically, banking relationship has always been between bank and customers, and it has always been more of a private one, where the banks basically have all the information of the customers stored in one place in a ledger, they have all the information of the banking history of a particular customer. But now, with the development of technology, there's more opportunities for banks to share their data with regulated third parties. And that's why we have this system of open banking. The whole idea of open banking is for customers to reap the benefits of having their data with banks. So before, it's only the banks that can offer services or offer products to the customers. And then the customers actually do not have to fill forms and all that to show that they're actually eligible to be able to access this product. But now with open banking, which is powered by APIs, banks can share data with other regulated third parties in order for customers to enjoy products or services that they usually would not enjoy without going through a very rigorous process of screening. Please, can we still hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so we propose to give a definition of open banking. So open banking is a process of enabling third-party payment service and financial service providers to access consumer data and banking information, such as transaction and payment history, with the customer's permission, of course. This is usually not done without consent. So you always have to consent. Customers have to consent first before their data will be shared. If you should go on some platforms, they would even ask if they can actually store your data for any other transaction that you like to do in the future, so that you don't have to impute it twice. And then once consent is given, these regulated service providers will aggregate the data they need, analyze it, and start building an accurate consumer profile. One thing that API has done is to help instead of these third parties to start gathering data from scratch, this open banking system just helps them to automatically have already existing data from banks who already have these customers. Open banking promotes interoperability and networking between banking information and service providers, creating a smoother user experience. This practice, of course, is powered through the use of application processing and interface, which is called API. API is a set of instructions and protocols that determine how different software components should interact. This is the technology that underpins open banking, and has recognized its utility. API have been used to connect developers to payment networks, as well as display billing details on the bank's website. So API is also necessary as a necessary functionality for banking as a service, a key component of open banking. BaaS is an end-to-end process that connects fintech and other third-party banks on bank system through the use of APIs. It helps build up banks offering on top of financial providers regulated infrastructure. So examples of open banking, we have mobile network apps such as my Airtel app, my MTN online, Bolt, Uber, InDriver. These platforms have been able to integrate the services they offer with also with financial services too. You are able to purchase, for example, you're able to purchase data or recharge your phone on MTN app without having to go to your bank to withdraw money, without even having cash on you. You can just go on the app, impute your financial details, everything will come out, and then you're able to proceed to purchase whatever it is you want to purchase at any given time. Open banking is regulated then it is no longer news. Data is the new oil, and since it's the new oil of this technology era that we have all entered, and since open banking entails receiving customers' use to be regulated, so CBN, and that's the Central Bank of Nigeria, is the major regulator of open banking. Technology Development Agency to address emerging issues in the data protection and test to and control people's data, that's data controllers, which banks, particularly due to the amount of, although it is a subsidiary legislation, that means it was not passed by the National Assembly, it was given by the National Information Technology Development Agency. The NDPR is currently Nigeria's most comprehensive law on data protection. It contains various provisions regulating the collection and processing of data in Nigeria. Processing of data in Nigeria, these principles, which are generally recognized foundational to safeguard the rights of natural persons to data, personal data of natural persons who are Nigerians. So
I just want to inform the mentees basically that where you find out that there are technical issues, especially for the backups, you can actually proceed with the presentation from where the lead presenter has actually stopped, so that we can minimize the downtime. We're all aware that we have a lot of technical issues surrounding data and all of that. Let's see how we can, work in sync to make sure that we have less breaks. Yeah, thank you. Do we have the backup for group 2? The backup presenter for group 2. Are you there? If you're here, you can actually proceed.
I would just share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, the screen is already shared, so I think you can just continue from where she stopped.
Okay. Well, I can't think so. Okay. So okay. Okay, so open banking, data protection in open banking Nigeria. Okay, so the NDPR was issued by the National Information Technology Development Agency to address emerging issues in data protection and privacy. It was issued to regulate those who have access to and control people's data, that's data controllers, particularly due to the amount of data created by users of the internet and stored on it. So the NDPR is a subsidiary regulation, but it is by far the most comprehensive law on data protection in Nigeria. It contains various provisions of data, which mirrors the fair information practice principles, which are generally, wow. Can anybody hear me? Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. My network at some point, which are generally considered foundational principles of privacy policy. The regulation seeks to safeguard the rights of natural persons to data privacy and applies to all transactions intended for the processing of personal data and natural persons who are Nigerians, whether in Nigeria or outside the country. Okay, so consequently, altogether, we would be explaining very shortly how the NDPR seeks to protect data in Nigeria, saying that open banking deals with people's data. I'm sure Miriam would have said that she would have explained open banking in the background and explained to us that it means the bank sharing bank users of customers' data to third parties to help them optimize the kind of services that they can get. So one of the first things that the NDPR seeks to help ensure in protecting data of people is consent. So consent is one of the cardinal principles of data rights here, and it is the legal basis of which you can process people's personal data. So the NDPR provides for strict guidance for the obtainment of consent from data subjects. It states that no data shall be obtained except for a specific purpose which will be made known to the data subject. In this case, that's the customers. And the procurement of consent must also be without fraud, coercion, or undue influence. And the data subject must also be informed of his or her rights to withdraw the consent who collects data to get specific consent for data subjects about sharing of data collected. It is also critical that the customer consent of data practices under, no, it is critical that any customer consents to data, oops, okay, let me share. Please 1 second, I'm sorry. Can anybody see my screen? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Or wow. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It is therefore important. It is critical that any. It is critical that any customer consent to data practices under open banking is voluntary, explicit, and revocable. Meaning they have the right to say, okay, at this point I want to withdraw. So this explains why we always see there's always question as to, or a kind of data policy, so to speak, in every app, every embedded finance app. We'll get there soon. That shows that, okay, we need to access your data and we have the rights, so to speak, to use your data, or are you willing to share your data with us? Another thing that NDPR promotes or incorporates in the regulation is purpose. So basically the purpose for which that data is gotten should be made known to the data subject. That's like it in summary. I'm trying to rush up because we have quite a number of slides. Another thing again is privacy policy. So the purpose of privacy policy is to notify the individuals of what an organization is collecting, using, and sharing the data for. Another thing that to data collectors in quotes is due diligence. The NDPR places on all parties to a data processing agreement, other than data subjects, the responsibility of taking necessary measures to ensure that the other parties do not have a record of violating or abusing data. The NDPR also provides that data processing by third parties shall be governed by a written contract between the third party and the data controller. Accordingly, any person, so that's why we have the SLA, the non-disclosure agreement, and all of that to show that, okay, this is the purpose, this is why you say in quotes that you need these people data. It is for this reason, and you cannot use it for something else. So there's also security. The NDPR requires anyone involved in data processing or the control of data to develop security measures to protect data. Such measures include protecting systems from hackers, setting up firewalls, storing data security, employing data encryption technologies, developing organization policies for handling personal data and other sensitive or confidential data, protection of emailing system, continuous capacity building for staff. The NDPR requires that personal data is secured against all foreseeable hazards and breaches, such as theft, cyber attacks, viral attacks, dissemination, manipulations of any kind, damage by rain, fire, exposure to other natural elements. So we know that data actually, the new oil is data, and all really what open banking need actually is data. That's information of people. And so there must be security in place to ensure that this data that you are getting does not get out to another party who is not who is not the third party in quote. So a case in view was the boat story, where there was a news round that boats in quotes was taking out funds illegally in quotes or necessarily from people's registered cards from the app. And so in the article, which we sort of made reference to, both explained why it was so and admitted that it was true and that it was a fault from, their developers in quote. So that's one way to see that if there's not enough security, it could be an issue. It could be an issue of concern. Another thing again is data subject rights. The rights of data subject to object to the process of his data is safeguarded by the NDPR. That is basically. Then compliance. The NDPR recommends some actions to be taken by data controlling entities to improve their chances of complying with the requirements under the regulation. Okay, so I will just rush. The NDPR also encourages entities to conduct data protection training for their staffs by inviting experts such as the DPCOs to anchor the process. This way, the employees, especially those specifically responsible for processing data, will be enlightened on how to prevent data breaches. And of course, there are penalties for breach of any of the provisions of data processing by the data controller. So like we said when it goes to the point of we earlier said, and there are documents that the bank in quotes and the data controllers would need to go into to ensure data protection. One popular one is service level agreements and the non-disclosure agreements and indemnity agreements, all to just ensure that the purpose for which the data is gotten is what data is used for, and that there is no breach, of security of the owners of the data. Okay.
Just a moment, Mr. Lushola.
Yes,
if you can kindly move straight to maybe speaking on embedded finance and
Okay.
other very relevant slides. If you can treat maybe like 3, 4, or 4, at most 5 more slides, just pick the best slides that you have that really deal with the issues so that we can actually move to presentation 1 because of time.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we've spoken about open banking. Open banking is important for us to help us then understand embedded finance. So like Mr. Joseph has said, I would move to embedded finance. Embedded finance is the integration of financial services or tools traditionally obtained via a bank within the products or services of a non-financial organization. Simply put, embedded finance is when financial services meet customers where they are, often at the point of sale, offering everything from buy now, pay later, that's the BNPL programs, to insurance plan. Think of an online store offering short-term loans in the form of BNL or the digital wallet on your phone, enabling instant contactless payments. And this is just even the beginning. Embedded finance has just started to streamline financial processes in both customer and business commerce by reducing barriers to entry for various products and services. So basically, embedded finance is basically saying that what the purpose for which open banking was is permissible is now then incorporated into an app for users to be able to profit from, basically. So the data that they've gotten from these banks, they can now then incorporate it into apps, which can be profitable for customers. That's basically what all that embedded finance is saying. So examples of embedded finance is there's embedded investment. So I would explain one by one very quickly, and then we can move on from there. So examples or types of embedded finance. We have embedded investment. So to the average person, investing often seems complicated and out of reach, but with the embedded banking programs, it's now very simplified, and the aim is to change the bottlenecks as regards investments. So an example of this Accounts, it's a program that invests people's spare change by rounding up purchases. Using Account, investing becomes seamless and touch-free. A user doesn't need to remember to transfer money to the account, as the app takes care of that. Their portfolio is automatically adjusted based on what the market does. So an account user doesn't have to pay attention to the value of stock or mutual funds. Another one is embedded banking. And it's not just another thing for embedded finance, it's actually on its own a type. So there are instances, for example, where companies offering banking services design so it says there are also instances of companies offering banking services designed to replace the checking or savings accounts provided by traditional financial institutions. Embedded banking examples include the debit card from Lyft. Lyft is a rider app which lets drivers instantly get paid by the rideshare company. Drivers can also set up a private saving account through the program. So I'll go again quickly to another type of embedded finance, and that's embedded. Let me see. Okay.
I think you can just treat like 2 more slides so that we can quickly move to group one.
Okay.
I think our mentors already understand much of how this would practically be relevant to the mentees, so they will deal with that during their comments. But if you can quickly take maybe 2 more slides, then we'll move straight to group one. Thank you very much, Mr. Alusha.
Yes, sir. Okay, so our third topic was what of payments, and that's basically what payments is. And so payment actually is the system or mechanism to which payments in quote or money transactions can be made. And then we made recourse to the CBN circular or NPA, that's Nigerian payment system. And then we now explained that in the slide that there are three categories of payment system according to the NPS. That's switching and processing, mobile money operator, and payment solution services. Those are the 3 ways you can process payments in Nigeria according to the Nigerian payment systems circular that was released by CBN. So I will leave that, and then we also explained about NIBS. NIBS means Nigerian Interbank Settlement System. It is. Let me briefly explain NIBS, and I would end the presentation. So NIBS is a shared e-payment infrastructure company facilitating electronic payments within the Nigerian payment system. So open banking and embedded finance and all of that would need NIBS if they must do anything that has to do with payments. So NIBS was incorporated in 1993. It started they started operation in 1994. They are owned by all the banks and some financial institutions. So Group 2 listed services provided by NIBS and how they help make open banking possible to financial institutions. And then we concluded to saying that open banking actually has limitless opportunities, but one major issue will just still be the data privacy and protection around it. Thank you for listening. We have quite a number of slides, but yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Olushola. I know that the network has not been very fair to most of us.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully next week will be a whole lot better. So I'll just quickly call on Group 1. If you could quickly conclude on your presentation so that we can quickly move straight to the comments from the mentors, please. Group 1, the table is yours, or the field is yours. kindly make your presentations, please. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'll be sharing my screen now. I'm so sorry for the problem earlier. I'll be sharing my screen now.
I think you can start your presentation while you're working on sharing your screen so that we save time, please.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be starting from commercial development of fintech. Fintech aids in the provision of new financial products and services to customers of traditional banks who did not have access to traditional financial services. As in this case, new technologies will be offered. New technologies are offered to people because fintech, basically technology and finance. So that's basically what it does. And then the emergence of fintech companies introducing technology to provide an easier way for customers in managing their finances have brought about a debate as to the overriding effects. It has as it pertains to the services provided by commercial banks. However, these commercial banks are still widely used in the world today, especially in Nigeria. And also considering the fact that commercial banks now are now improving and making sure that they are adding technology to what they do. For example, Wema Bank Alert and the way most commercial banks in Nigeria now have their banking app. And then the fintech industry innovations in commercial activities. The fintech industry has improved the payments and remittance sector as it has now become a source of investment in Nigeria. In 2007, the Payment System Vision 2020 of the Central Bank of Nigeria experienced an increase in the number of mobile and electronic payment solutions as the PSB seeks to embrace electronic payments and processing methods. Additionally, the CBN introduced a framework for quick responsive code payments, that's QR framework. Thereby, the QR code can be used to present, capture, and transmit payment information across payment infrastructures in Nigeria. Thereby, payments can be made by scanning the QR code, as this is an answer to the touch-free payment option necessitated by COVID-19. For lending, the impact of COVID-19 in the financial sector cannot be quantified, as we have recorded a rise in mobile lending in Nigeria. The payments of data are therefore, loans are now accessible through a digitized. Sorry, can everyone see my screen now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'll be continuing now. Therefore, loans are made accessible through a digitized lending process and more often than not without collateral, as individuals and small and medium-sized enterprises are active beneficiaries of this innovation. Personal finance. Fintech companies now offer personal savings solutions, which are available on mobile phones as mobile applications are developed by them, which aids in analyzing spending habits and periodically monitor cash flow. Examples of fintech companies that help with personal finance are Cowrywise and Piggyvest. They help people to save and they also help with investing. Ladder also helps with investing. One thing that in Nigeria, fintech has grown very large. However, there are some problems that. However, there's a problem that's been observed, and that is the regulators of fintech in Nigeria still find it difficult to acknowledge it or to make it grow so well. And this is why the Security and Exchange Commission and the CBN have released letters to commercial banks and to fintech companies that they should not or to prevent them from engaging in cryptocurrency. And this is a very big problem because it's going to stunt the growth of fintech in Nigeria. In conclusion, financial technologies are one of the main drivers of digital transformation of the whole financial sector and the development of financial accessibility in the world. As due to its development, it has led to improved platforms where most of the banking activities done in traditional banks are conducted with improved technological add-ons that make them faster and more effective. We also 10th questions, and that is, what is the future of commercial development in fintech in the financial industry? Can fintech thrive well in Nigeria and in the world? What are the innovations that the Nigerian legal system are making towards embracing financial technology? Thank you for listening.
Thank you so very much, Group One. I think your presentation is a very wonderful one, and I'm very sure that our mentors would have so much to share. Just a little aside, I just want to say by way of appeal to our mentors, we want to apologize for the network. I don't know if in some areas it's quite bad. If there are areas you feel the mentees did not really address, you can dwell on those areas so that we can enrich the knowledge being shared in today's presentation. Thank you very much. So very quickly, I'll be calling on Miriam Hassan to kindly make comment on both presentations, that of Group 1 and 2. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here, and well done to both teams on both presentations. I think you did a really good job, and you know, speaking with experience, I'll say you did a good job to touch on some things, because I guess most of the things you spoke on are, you know, researches you sort of saw online, right? So I will just speak on, you know, what it is that it's happening today, you know, around the fintech space in regards to commercial development and open banking. So we'll probably start with Group 2, you know, who spoke on you know, the open banking. I noticed that you dwelled more on data protection, and data protection is just an aspect of open banking, right? Open banking is wide. There's you know, so much that happens around that space. For example, open banking in the UK is well established, and you know, we're ahead. The US, for example, has nothing like open banking yet. So, you know, and their payment system is so sort of archaic compared to what we have in Nigeria. Interestingly, Nigeria has, you know, one of the, I would say one of the most improved payment systems in the world, surprisingly. I'm sure people will be surprised to hear that, but that's what it is today. You know, though there's an open banking framework and secular in Nigeria, it's, for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's yet to kick off, you know, for one to play in that space. And, you know, for you to be on sort of experience that open banking, you have to be registered under the open banking registry, right? So open banking, like Group 2 rightly said, is a process of enabling third-party payment service and financial service providers to have access to consumer data, you know, banking information, such as your transactions and your payment history. And like you rightly said, with the customer's permission, because that's very key, and you know, that's what drives the open banking system. So it ranges from you companies or businesses, you know, that are registered under the open banking registry to have access to things like statement of accounts, your transaction history, even your BVN is still data, right? Account authentication service, the payment initiation service. So I saw somewhere in your slide where you mentioned Plaid. Yes, Plaid is one of the foremost drivers of open banking in the UK. And what they're able to provide is payment initiation service and account authentication, where you're able to authenticate accounts. So they're basically able to pull data from, you know, from the bank, or even pull money from your bank. They're able to pass debits to your bank account, but upon the consent of the customer. And, you know, for them to be able to do that, one of the ways of getting consent from customer is access to your internet banking. So it's sometimes has to redirect you to your mobile banking app to log in. And that login credential that you've entered is your consent to go ahead to debit your account or pull information from, you know, your bank accounts. There's something else called the two-factor authentication, where you're probably sent an OTP or whatever way the bank has decided to authenticate you to be able to pass that data to, you know, the business that is requesting for that data. Open banking is just a subset of banking as a service. So I would say that banking as a service is more related to embedded finance than open banking. I just wanted to, you know, throw more light on that. So banking as a service is closely related to embedded finance, because it's basically all the services that the banks offer today, which ranges from, you know, lending, to lending to payments and all. So what they basically do is to expose those services through APIs, to these companies or fintechs that request for these services from the banks. Open banking is just one subset because it's closely related to consumer data, and that's consumer data relating to financial transactions mostly, not really data that you get from social media, right? It's mostly, so even though, I saw that you kept mentioning data protection, but it's just one aspect, which is very important. It's a major subset of open banking, but it's not, exactly what open banking is all about, because most of your slides was just focused on data, protection. So banking as a service empowers virtually any company or in any industry to participate in the fintech space through embedded finance. Now, you mentioned the data, protection aspect, and the open banking circular, which CBN released, which guides the framework around open banking, as sort of categorized into 4 tiers, which allows you to pull data. So one, if you're a licensed entity, like you have a commercial license, whether you're a deposit money bank or a payment service provider, you have access to personal information and financial transactions of customers, or the profile and analytics and the scoring transactions of those data. So this circular you stated just I think it's more to consumer protection framework of the bank, and data protection is just one aspect of it. And it's very important that consumers give their consent. In the examples that you gave for open banking, I would say that they are not examples of open banking, right? A boat today just provides a ride-hailing platform where they bring the passenger and the driver together. And what they've only been able to do is to incorporate some sort of payment service, within the app. You also being able to buy data using your mobile banking app is not open. It's not open banking. It's just you providing. So MTN, the likes of MTN and Glo and Airtel are just telecoms that provide internet services like data and airtime credits for you to call, and those services can also be provided on your mobile banking platform, which they are connected to for you to be able to buy data. So it's more embedded finance, because what you've done is to just embed a bills payment within an app for people to make payments than open banking. I'm not sure there's any company today in Nigeria that's legally been able to like a played in the UK, to be able to provide open banking in Nigeria. I know there's a Mono. Today you can check them up. They're able to, pull transactions, statement of accounts and balances from bank accounts, but they can't pass debit. So one of the things that I'm working on at Leatherback is to be able to connect to banks both in Nigeria and in different countries. So we're able to, pull data from customers' accounts within the banks, and also allow people to be able to pay directly from their bank accounts. So the same way you're able to pay with your card, you're able to pay directly from your bank account without you having to log in to your mobile app, to make payments. So I don't know, maybe Damilola might have an example of who has been able to, who in Nigeria has been able to achieve the open banking system. We just have the framework and the circular, but nobody has really been able to, achieve that. It's a lot, but, I'll just try and wrap up, embedded finance, yes, it's just the bank extending, the APIs that they have for these different services, like you mentioned, lending, the savings platform and the likes, to fintech companies to be able to connect, to provide those services seamlessly to, consumers like us in Nigeria. So, and that's what I would just like to mention, around the open banking, embedded finance, and the world of payments. In terms of the world of payments, which is also part of what you mentioned, you're right to say in your slide that payments is broad, and the focus is only based on business need. But honestly, when building products, you want to make sure that you have all the payment methods available to give your customers and users alternatives to choose from, and use the means of payment that they are more comfortable with. So there are different payment methods today, ranging from the likes of you making payments through your Google Pay, Apple Pay, Venom, PayPal, Zelle. Payment methods they range from mobile applications, you making payments to your mobile application, to using your mobile wallets. There are countries that mobile wallets are huge. In Nigeria, we have the likes of Paga. Right, you have EFTs, which are electronic funds transfers, for you to be able to make payments through bank transfer, pay by account. There's card tokenization, for you to be able to tokenize your physical card within an app and use it to tap and pay. You also mentioned QR is also a means of payment, which was mentioned in the first presentation for commercial development. And you also have pay with card. There's just a lot that has to do with it. I'm just trying to put everything together so we're able to understand it. So I'll just let Damilola speak and throw more light on it.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. Thanks for the very deep insights that you've given us today. I've actually become better hearing from you, and of course the mentees as well. So very quickly, I would like to call on Damilola, our second mentor today, to quickly kindly give us her comments. Damilola, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you can hear me and you can hear a background noise, I'm so sorry. I'm at an ACI worldwide event, and he ran late than we expected, so I'm still at the event, so I had to just step out. Apologies for any background noise that you eventually hear. I totally love the presentation, bearing in mind the little new experience that the mentees have. Very good direction, and it showed that they tried as much as possible to get insight from the internet, for maybe social media, whatever medium that they've gotten the information from. So kudos to the two teams. I think in addition to what Miriam said, locally here in Nigeria, we do not have any open banking fintech or partner or gateway that has entirely used up that space. Recently, there was a guideline that Central Bank released, I think about 2 months ago, a draft for guidelines for open banking. And you will still find that on that guideline, there was no throwing the rope to the fintech to say, okay, yes, I've given you the knife and the yam, go ahead and cut it, but this is how I want you to cut it. There's still a little bit of restriction to what they can do. A mono today, by my last check, is still integrated with 2 banks that I particularly know about. And even for Okra as well, Okra is also a very good frontliner in the open banking space. And regardless of their expertise in that space, they still need to integrate with the commercial bank, which would in turn regulate how the implementation will go. Like Miriam also said, the examples that were given for embedded finance, not entirely embedded finance. So locally in Nigeria, you will say a Jumia is in that space, because you find that on Jumia you have the e-commerce, on Jumia you have the Jumia food, on Jumia you have the Jumia Pay, and even internationally we can also use Google as a reference point in terms of embedded finance. So it's good that you're particularly aware of data protection in open banking, because that's very critical to customer protection, ensuring that your application end-to-end is protected, is encrypted by any means that you have designed. There's a global standardization of ISO for how these processes should be, because it allows the stakeholders in that system to be able to be interoperable, such that a NIPS can connect to a commercial bank, the commercial bank can connect to a fintech, a user can connect to a fintech, and even in that bucket, everybody can talk to each other. Embedded finance is, as we see, becoming the trend. Before, we used to think it was just fintech, do savings, do investments, do what have you. But now we're seeing that even lifestyle applications are introducing payments into their platforms, such that at the event that I am today, somebody was saying that Starbucks, as at last year, their wallet transaction worth about $5 billion. And I'm wondering, some banks even in Nigeria, it's not even as what as that. And Starbucks is just a coffee shop. Because Starbucks, what they do is to have wallet accounts for their customers. And once you load that account with about $25 or $30 and you're buying coffee, either you're walking into the coffee shop to order your coffee online and pick up there, or you're delivering to you, either of this mode of ordering, the monies will be taken from your wallet. And from time to time, you're constantly taking monies from your bank accounts to Starbucks, and Starbucks is not a bank. So you can now imagine if we have many other lifestyle applications that are taking on this route and providing other services other than their original line of business, and providing service for their customers. I know of a ride-hailing service called Save Border, who is also very new to the Nigerian market. They started up in Ibadan and they're doing ride-hailing, delivering food and everything. And now they want to start doing savings, they want to start doing bill payments, they want to start doing investments in the future. So these are the things that you eventually find in the coming years in the open banking space. It is also good to note that we still have an elephant in the room, which is the central bank. Until central bank identifies that there's a way we can do this business without entirely holding these people to ransom. As long as they have met regulations, as long as they have this ISO certification, as long as they have the NGPR filing, as long as they have every other thing that they need to play in that space, just leave them and let them do their thing. The same way they have allowed banks to do their thing. Because if you look at the population of Africa today, it's rising daily. Yes, we say we have 200 million people in Nigeria, but what is validation for that data? Sometimes I think we are even much more than that. Our borders are so porous, people are coming in, people coming in legally and illegally. Some way or the other, they need to access financial service. So as much as open banking and embedded finance is what we typically interact with in this part of Nigeria, being Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and the eyebrow areas, we also have demand for this service in the locals. So most times when partners come to me and say they want to do this, and I'm asking, where are you resident? They're saying in Lagos, and I'm always thinking, why is everyone coming to Lagos? Why is everyone not thinking about the others who are not currently banked in Lagos? Why are you not thinking of a place like Osun State? Why are you not thinking of a place like, maybe Anambra or something, where you have loads and loads of market traders who have transaction value of over 50 million on a daily basis? Although that being said, so like Miriam also mentioned the different card payments, different payment methods that we have, you find that since the pandemic era, there has been a lot of emerging trends on how customers interact with payments. Many people now do not want to touch cash. In fact, immediately I finish using the ATM now, I find myself always having to reach out to my sanitizer and wanting to sanitize my hands. So you find that QR technology is coming to play, contactless payments, NFC cards, and all of that, they are coming to play. In the future, you'll find that by the time you enter a store and you are checking out, you probably don't even need to go to a till box or maybe walk up to a teller at the end of the day. Maybe just by passing through a particular part of that store and you have your mobile app, or maybe you have a particular lifestyle card, you're able to just make your payment and just by just walking out. We're seeing the likes of Amazon doing that in years to come. Open banking is a very large space. I'm not sure we can take just this few time to talk about it. It's a very large space. The trends are coming in and they're trickling in thousands. Customers' needs are gradually changing. Many people don't even want to leave the comfort of their homes anymore to be able to access goods and services. Many people would rather, in the comfort of their homes, have every service that they want. Many people are ordering groceries and having it delivered. They are ordering for, they are booking their flight tickets, they are paying for insurance, they are doing all of that through embedded finance, just from the comfort of their home. In the area of data protection, like the presenters are really hammered on, it's good to also know that apart from just getting customers' consent and abiding by all the NTPR regulations, it's always also very good to keep an audit trail of this customer's consent. Ensure that in the event that any regulator approaches you and say, okay, yes, you have 100,000 customer base for this application or for this service that you're rendering. And yes, you require customers' consent for this service that you're providing. Can you give me an evidence that you actually have the customer's consent? In the event that you don't have that audit logs or a record somewhere in your cloud system that can say on so date, between so day and so date, I have 50 customers who have given consent for me to do this on their behalf, or validate their account details or do anything whatsoever. It becomes a problem. So if you have that data resident somewhere in your application,
I don't think Damilola is actually done, so we might just wait up some few more seconds to see if she comes back online.
Okay, while we wait, I wanted to mention, I think I heard the last speakers talk about crypto, and I just wanted to sort of correct a notion. I think I heard you say that because of the ban on crypto, it's going to affect the growth of fintechs. I just wanted to mention that cryptocurrency is just in one means of payments out of the multiple that we have. And there's no way that it will affect the growth of fintechs today, right? So I'm sure you've probably gone to platforms where maybe you want to check out and they give you different payment options, and crypto is just one of them. So you can have several payment methods on the platform. You can have as many as 6. Like I mentioned, there's PayPal. Okay, I think Damilola is back. Let me just wrap up. So banning cryptocurrency doesn't affect the growth of fintechs. I think it's just independent of anything. It's just one arm or one sector of the industry, and doesn't affect the growth of fintechs either in Nigeria or the world at large. Damilola, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I think the network just threw me out. I don't know what happened. So I think the last thing I was saying was about audit logs for customer consent in the event that your business model requires it to obtain customers' consent for the service that you'll be providing to them. The other trend that I also noticed in open banking is interoperability. The quick response technology that was developed by NIFS and deployed sometime last year, we find that many of Nigerian banks today are on that platform. And the reason why they're able to connect to that platform seamlessly is because it's interoperable, and customers of any bank can access that technology without even being a customer of the originating bank. So if you have a QR decal, or maybe you're selling, for example, that has been placed at a merchant's checkout point, and you're a customer of Providence Bank or you're a customer of Zenith, you can access payment using that decal just by your mobile application. This is also a very good trend that we see now happening in the market, such that customers are able to use payments seamlessly. They are able to access it without having to go through a lot of stress. I don't know if we can answer. I see that there was a question that was sent in the email that I received yesterday, and one talked about the innovations of the Nigerian legal system in open banking. One major player in that space that I know in Nigeria is a law firm called Banwa and Ighodalo. They're very good partners with the Fintech Association of Nigeria, and they have tried as much as possible to also mediate when it comes to regulations that CBN push out on a daily basis, to ensure that CBN is in tune with reality, to ensure that whatever regulation or guideline that they have come up with also protects the customer, protects the fintech, protects the bank, protects everybody at large, but also still putting the customer's need at the center. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is serve the customer and allow them access payments easily, allow them access payments in a secured pattern, and also interoperability, like I mentioned. So that's one of the things that Banwa Igudalo is doing currently to ensure that the payment system in Nigeria and the fintech industry is constantly evolving, and to also bring in our regulator, which is CBN, into the mix and ensuring that they are up to date in terms of emerging trends. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Damilola. I've learned so much from the presentation, from the comments, and I'm sure that most of them as well have picked up one or two things. One thing that actually stood out was your explanation with respect to how embedded finance is really what's really happening in the industry and not open banking per se. So that clarity is actually very important, so that we don't think that because there's a regulation, maybe from the central bank on open banking, then that now translates to the fact that a lot of people are actually playing in the open banking space. So that clarification was very useful. So very quickly, the next thing we have on the agenda is for us to take a screenshot. And the idea basically is that we encourage everyone to put their videos on right now in another couple of seconds. Let's see how we can quickly do that. Let's put on our videos. Jimo, Oluwasheo, Noye, Miriam, Olushala, please, if you don't mind, kindly put your videos on. Let's quickly take a shot. We can screenshot just do a screenshot on your phone or on your laptop, as the case may be. Then the idea is for you to tag our mentors. You also state what you learned during, what really stood out for you in the comments that the mentors have actually made. And do not forget also to tag Gypsy as well. And do a very huge and a very big thank you to our mentors. For our mentors today, thank you so much. Today has really been awesome. I'm sure we've done that already. Have we taken the pictures? Let people know that you were at today's session. Let people know that you didn't miss out on today's session of the week 2 of the presentation, the FinTech Mentorship and Internship Program. So the next thing we have to do now is to quickly treat the questions. We have the questions actually in the chat box. Hussein posted them here. I'm trying to get across to the questions. So since we already have the questions, I don't know if I can read them. I think the first one has to do with what are the renovations what are the innovations Nigerian legal system is making towards developing the commercial aspects of fintech. Question 2 is, what is the future of commercial development of fintech in Nigeria? Then 3, when considering world of payments, what should one focus on, as payments itself is very broad? Then number 4, does data protection apply to open banking? I want to replace question 4 with another question. I just want to ask that, what is the easiest route into the fintech space that any of the mentees can actually begin to consider or research on? Miriam, you can help us with question 1 and 3, and Damilola, you can help us with question 2 and 4. Question 4 again is, what is the easiest route that the mentees or anyone with little or no experience in fintech can begin to take towards building a career within the fintech space? Thank you very much. You can commence answering the questions now.
Hi, Joseph, thanks. Just to confirm, the first question is, what are the innovations Nigerian legal system are making, right, towards developing commercial aspects of fintech, right? Hello? I think you're muted. That's the first question.
Yeah, that's the question. Yes, that's it.
Okay. I know that Damilola spoke on that, mentioning a legal firm today that ensures that any regulation or circular that is released by CBN is they go through it to be sure that in touch with what's going on today in the outside world, so that they don't release circulars that don't make sense or are not achievable. in that legal space, because I'm not a legal person per se, I think what comes to mind is that, the way tech today has penetrated other sectors, it will definitely penetrate, the legal sector as well. So I believe that the Nigerian legal system would not, want to be left behind in that. So they will always want to jump on the train by trying to understand, these tech companies and the role that legal would play, because I think legal is also very important in, what the tech space is doing today, because the same way we have different areas that you have the CFOs that, take care of the accounting and the tech space. You also have legal people. So, there has to be an understanding of how the fintech works for any innovation to happen today. So I think legal firms maybe you have to add fintech to, one of the many services that you offer. You need to be able to understand, because that's what is gradually, taking over. For CBN, I know that before the current guidelines that we have, the categorization of the licenses, the guidelines and requirements before were all modeled up. But, with the new regulation for the new licensing categorization are sort of, explained and specified how services will be rendered and, what the capitalization is and the requirements. I know that the Data Protection Act too, obviously will come from the legal system. We have the anti-money laundering guidelines and regulation. I'm sure that also came, from the Nigerian legal system, working with CBN on that, as well as the open banking, regulation as well. So from my perspective, that's where I think the Nigerian legal system has a role to play, to be able to understand the fintech space and, how they can play in that. Can you please take the second question again, Joseph? What's the question 3 that you said you want me to speak on?
Okay, I'll take question 3 very quickly. Just give me, it says, when considering world of payments, what should one focus on? What should be the main focus, since payments is actually very broad?
Okay, so payments is broad. I think I spoke on this when I spoke earlier. Payments is broad, and you cannot necessarily focus, on a particular type of payment. Focus is only based on business need. But honestly, when building products, you want to be sure that all types of payment methods are available to your users or to your consumers or to your customers. You want them to have as many payment alternatives as possible on your platform. So they have the option to select whatever payment system, they are comfortable with. Today, fintechs are increasingly innovating around the mobile payment space. Like I said, that you have the likes of Google Pay, Apple Pay, Venom, PayPal, Zelle. Payment methods ranging from mobile applications, pay with wallets. In Central and West Africa, for example, mobile wallet is huge. I'm sure we've all sort of heard of M-Pesa before. It's huge, and that's like the major means of payment in those countries. So for countries like that, their focus is on mobile money wallets. Mobile money wallets are even bigger than bank accounts in Central and West Africa. You have places where in Nigeria, for example, EFTs, which is electronic funds transfer, where you're able to pay by bank transfer, is huge. Today, people would rather initiate transfers to your accounts than use their debit cards, to pay. They just feel more comfortable doing that. They are putting their card details online. You have the QR, which Damilola has mentioned today, because that service is coming from NIBS, which is Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, that the second slide speaker spoke about, is huge. All banks are connected to NIBS today. So it means that once they're able to release a product like QR, all banks have to jump on it and we have access to it. So there's no primary focus, there's no one thing that I would say you have to focus on in terms of payments. So it's determined by you as a fintech. This is the products that I'm releasing to the market. These are the payment options that I want to be available. And truth be told, you want to give your customers as many payment options as possible. So there's just so much going on in the payment space. People are, increasingly innovating. So there's no one thing I would say today that we should focus on. Payments is broad. Just make sure you jump on as many payments methods that you can make available to your users. And if you're innovating, just constantly keep innovating around, the payment methods available, or just disrupt and come up with one new payment system that nobody has today. Basically, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, for the answers. They're very insightful. So, Damilola, you would help us with question 2 and question 4. I can take those questions again if you don't mind.
Actually, I have a question in the chat box.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes. So it says, what's the future of commercial development of fintechs? I think one of the major developments would be contactless payments. Since the era of the pandemic till now, you can see that a lot of customers are beginning to react differently to the financial industry, such that they don't want to relatively have a physical contact with any service that they are making payment for. So in Nigeria today, you'll find some banks having biometric withdrawals already enabled on their ATMs. I think there's GT, there's Providence, I think Sterling has, I think First Bank as well. So you'll find that trend already coming to play, and a lot of people are accepting that payment option because they don't want to touch terminals. They don't want to punch their PIN, or they don't want to press so many letters or keypads on the ATM machine. So contactless payment is a very big thing, and it seems to be the future because many of the world population today are middle aged, and just a very few age bracket is the older people. So this knowledge of the pandemic that we have, we're going to carry it on for a while. In fact, on a lighter note, sometimes when I see people today, I forget that I'm supposed to give them a hug because my mind had been reprogrammed to the fact that I'm not supposed to come close to you, just say hello from a distance. So you find that this knowledge is going to live with us for a while, and we're going to react in that nature to every product or service that we're going to be interacting with. So the first is, like I said, contactless payment. Of course, in this contactless payment, that's where you have the QR technology, which we had talked about earlier, which is very big and can be accessed via the mobile application of different banks today. Another future that I see for commercial developments is artificial intelligence. The new shopping trend, like I mentioned, so you find that some stores in America or some parts in the UAE, you can just check out by a barcode that has been initiated and printed to you, and at checkout point, you just scan that barcode with your mobile application, or you're just tapping your card somewhere, and it just allows you to just check out without the teller or the staff of that supermarket or superstore having to physically look at what you have bought, scan your product with the scanning machine, let you know the total, tells you this is the total and all of that. And of course, this also improves the turnaround time of the customer shopping experience, rather than having to join long queues, wait for the next customer, wait for this and that. So that's another emerging trend, artificial intelligence, which is going to be something that would be infused into the open banking guidelines as well. Although at the moment, this is not currently optimized in Nigeria, and of course you can understand why our central bank is still not in tune with reality, but I'm sure they will get there with time. I think the last question is around data protection in open banking. Yes, very much it's applicable, and most times you find that when commercial banks are interacting with the fintech, the first question they are asking you is, do you have an NDPR filing certificate? Do you have an evidence that when customers are on your platform and they are accessing their virtual account, or they are crediting their mobile wallet, or they are saving their credit cards or debit cards on your platform, it is safe? Because in the event that there's a cyber attack or there's a system glitch, or anything that exposes the customer would not, want to bother to know that, oh, I pity you, it's because your company had a network downtime. The customer is just going to go all out and scream and yell, I want my money, I want this and that. The moment there's a breach somewhere and customers' data is exposed, that's a big problem. You don't even know how many people have access to it already by that single breach. So data protection is very, very critical to the success and the future of open banking. Bear in mind that there are other regulatory bodies in Nigeria that also, help to ensure that the data protection is also abided by. The case in point is CBN. Even without the NDPR or NITSA, CBN is going to be coming after you if they notice that you're doing something that's going to expose the customer. That's why you find that in the news today. You just hear CBN has shut down a particular bank, CBN has shut down a particular fintech, or you just see a list of fintech that has been shut down and all of that. And like Miriam also said, the Anti-Money Laundering Act is something that is very, very robust. There's been a news recently about 54, a card scheme that was connected to MasterCard that was shut down and allowed about 5 of their big merchants not to service their customers on virtual credit and debit cards because they cannot comply with the anti-money laundering policies in the resident countries that they are in. So data protection is not just even customer data, it's also anti-money laundering at the other end, because you don't want to have different kind of monies coming into the system. You don't want to have monies that you don't even know the source, you can't verify it, and as you hear in the news regularly, you hear them say that this particular fintech or this service provider has been shut down for a reason relating to anti-money laundering. There's money coming from offshore accounts, moving to that particular account and going out again without relatively tying it to maybe a merchant service payment or maybe customer goods delivery payments and all of that. I think I've been able to answer it to the best of my own experience, and I think I'll put some perspective to it. And I wish all the mentees all the best in whatever that they are set out to do. For me, they can always reach me via LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is one of the fastest ways they can even reach me because I'm always active there. I respond to messages there on time. My email is also, I think the association has my email, Gypsy. They have my email. So in case they have any other questions or they want to have a one-on-one session, why not? I'm ready to be available, and we just always schedule something that we can take on from here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Damilola. Thank you, Miriam. Well, at this point, I would like to call on Juliana. She's the convener of Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program. I'm sure she has a lot to say in terms of the vote of thanks and to also appreciate you for this wonderful time that you've spent with us today. Juliana, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph, for moderating the session. And I really want to say a very big thank you to Miriam and to Damilola. I think women rock. So we're here and we have 2 amazing ladies with us, and it's so good. It's so good to see the vast knowledge that has been shared today, and I'm sure that everybody has learned. Mr. Joseph is covering his eyes. Please just watch because women are doing amazing work, and it's just really, really nice. So far, personally, I have learned a lot about the commercial development, open banking, embedded finance, data, and everything, and AI, IP, how everything intersects and all that. So I've learned a lot, and I want to say a very big thank you to Mariam. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying with us through even the technical issues. And to Damilola, thank you. I kept chatting her up. Oh, please, we need you. We need you. And she was like, oh, I have a program, but she's still here despite everything. I want to say a very big thank you to you too. And to all our mentees who came together to research and to present. I want to say that we are proud of you. Continue doing what you're doing. Some of us did not have this opportunity when we started, but we are privileged to have this opportunity. So I'm sure that you've learned something. And I would like you to post on LinkedIn, write what you learned, and tag the mentors today, because these ladies are outstanding and they've given us amazing knowledge and vibes today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hussein, also. Have an amazing week, everyone. Love you all. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you. Have an amazing week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.